एक थीम जो पकड़ी है वो है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की,
100%।
जो इस बजट में बेहद साफ है। आइए एक बेहद खास मेहमान से करते हैं मुलाकात। देश में सबसे दिग्गज और प्रतिष्ठित कंपनियों में से एक एचडीएफसी लिमिटेड, जो कि जानी और मानी जाती है इस वजह से कि वो इकोनॉमी का एकदम सही तस्वीर दिखाने वाला कारोबार करती है। जी हां, हाउसिंग फाइनेंस का। आइए इस ग्रुप के चेयरमैन दीपक पारेख साहब हमारे साथ कार्यक्रम में शामिल हो रहे हैं। दीपक पारेख साहब, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका जी बिजनेस पर, और सबसे पहले धन्यवाद सर दिल से आपको, आपने समय दिया इस बड़े दिन। बताएं सर, इस बजट से क्या डायरेक्शन है इकोनॉमी के लिए, मार्केट्स के लिए, देश के लिए?
मार्केट के लिए और देश के लिए अच्छा बजट है। ये बजट ग्रोथ बजट है, and the finance minister has concentrated on spending more money on infrastructure. Very occasionally she is referred to spending money on urban infrastructure. Urban infrastructure gets neglected. You've seen the kind of cities, how they are getting decaying and getting destroyed. So she has allotted a lot of money for urban infrastructure, and Prime Minister's intention of spending more money, capital. This is a capital growth budget. And you know, there's a saying that if it ain't broke, don't mend it. So on the direct taxes, there are not any changes. They have not given more exemptions. They have not increased ATC limits. They have not removed anything. They have not added anything. People were expecting gift tax and estate duty and a number of other things. But they've stayed away from it. And even on long-term capital gains tax, which the market will like, they've put a limit on the surcharge rather than the graded surcharge. So overall, I think it's been a good budget. You will see the growth. Revenue collections of the government has been so good this year, despite the pandemic. We can't forget that this is the third consecutive year where the pandemic is COVID-19. It started in February. So this is the third consecutive year which the finance minister have had to have the impact of COVID. Despite that, she is able to increase spend in capital expenditure, because I think the consensus was we need growth, we need more capital investment, and we need more hard infrastructure, whether it's road, railways, air corridors, logistics, whatever. So overall, I think it's good for the country. We are getting to a 9.2% GDP growth rate, and which is probably one of the highest in any large emerging countries. And even for India, I can't remember when we had a 9% GDP growth rate for many, many years. We've not achieved this target. And so it's credible that the finance minister has emphasized the right sectors. And she's given something for every sector, including, say, the GIFT City. For education, any educational institutions can come to GIFT City and have their own setup, have their educational institution, and they won't be impacted by the regulatory compliance requirement of the HRD ministry. So, there's been quite a lot of liberal thinking by the government, and defense may private sector has to be given 65% of the orders to be given to the Indian domestic manufacturers. There are a number of things. The only thing I would say is that we have to see the details of the budget to see if any surprises have come in.
Absolutely.
We can't talk about that until we read the entire text.
एब्सोल्युटली सर, एक चीज और पूछना चाहता हूं। जनरली जब भी नंबर्स आते हैं, चाहे वो जीडीपी के नंबर्स हों, फिस्कल डेफिसिट के हों, या फिर कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर के जो इस बार सबसे ज्यादा है, जनरली लोग ये सोचते हैं कि अचीव कैसे करेंगे। नंबर्स तो गवर्नमेंट दे देती है। क्या आपको लगता है ये जो सारे नंबर्स दिए गए हैं वो अचीवेबल हैं?
हमारा प्रॉब्लम ऑलवेज एग्जीक्यूशन का है. Will we be able to execute these grand ideas, these bold ideas of the finance minister? And this is where we falter at times. But I think on the revenue, on the availability of resources, there is resources available for good projects. There are resources available. They've talked of a green bond. If the government does a green bond, there'll be enough interest from international investors to come into that. And so I'm not concerned about availability of resources. Where will the money come from? I'm only a little concerned about the execution capability and the execution of these implementation of these infra projects by our Indian private sector and the construction industry.
पारिक साहब, एक और सवाल आपसे जो लेना चाहता हूं वो आपकी एक्सपर्टाइज वाला, आपके बिजनेस वाला हाउसिंग और रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर को लेकर है। क्या कुछ बजट में ऐसा है जिससे इस सेक्टर को और ग्रोथ और बूस्टर मिले?
48,000 crores finance minister has allocated for Prime Minister's Awas Yojana, which includes cash link subsidy scheme, and the finance minister mentioned that it is for the LIG and MIG, EWS, LIG, MIG. So they have allocated 50,000, almost 50,000 crores for this scheme, which was ending in March 22.
Right.
So they have obviously extended it by one more year by allocating money to this scheme. So, and the housing sector in the last year has done remarkably well. The demand has shot up, and despite the pandemic and despite the lockdown, you've seen unsold inventory shrink considerably. And this is also applicable to commercial buildings. There's been a phenomenal growth in commercial offices, and the IT sector has taken 90% of the new buildings that have come up, because the IT sector and the IT-enabled sector, they are doing exceptionally well. Getting, CEOs of large technology companies and IT companies are telling me that we used to go and ask for jobs when we travel all over the world. Now, sitting in India, we are getting massive amounts of jobs because we don't travel. So things have changed. India is the capital for software development, is the capital for back office, and even a little high-end work Indian back offices are doing. It's just not voice.
सर, बजट के दिन में आपका ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगा। आखिरी सवाल सर, सरकार ने अपनी तरफ से बड़े कैपेक्स टारगेट रखे हैं। क्या आपको लगता है इस बजट के बाद कॉर्पोरेट इंडिया, हमारे यहाँ के स्टार्टअप्स, हमारे यहाँ की कंपनियां और प्रोमोटर्स हिंदुस्तान में बड़ा पैसा लगाने के लिए, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब बनाने के लिए, बड़ा बिजनेस करने के लिए तैयार होंगे? क्या इस बात को यह बजट और आगे बढ़ाएगा?
The finance minister also said that we are setting up new rules for SEZ. Now, the new rules for SEZ rules were there earlier, but they are amending it, and this new set of rules will come. Now, SEZ is to promote industry, is to give a single window clearance if anyone wants to start manufacturing. I think that is the idea of the government in this budget, and you will see that Indian entrepreneurs are ready to invest. The only drawback at the moment was that capacity utilization in certain sectors are still at 70-75%. Unless they go to 80-85%, entrepreneurs do not put more money for a new factory. But I am confident that that demand will increase with all this infrastructure investment, steel, cement, which is core. You have to have more of these core sector manufacturing units, and I'm confident that Indian private sector will be enthusiastically willing to invest money and set up new manufacturing with the PLI and with other benefits that are available.
बिल्कुल। दीपक पारिक साहब, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। सर, आपने इस बड़े दिन समय दिया और बजट पर हमारा पूरे विश्लेषण हमारे दर्शकों के सामने और पूरे देश के सामने रखा। दीपक पारिक साहब बताते हुए इस बजट के बारे में कि ये बजट है ग्रोथ की तरफ आगे बढ़ाने वाला, इकोनॉमी